Hi there. Think wedding, think anniversary, think christening. I think these would work for any occasion, but I love the way it looks for those occasions. I'm going to show you some things that you can do with this die here. And just to give you a quick introduction, we are going to be using the double pierced rectangles, the delicate garden frame, and this is the one that I want to really talk about and show you today. And I'm also going to be using the Toronto die from the Canadian collection in the center of the card. So first thing I want to show you is I'm going to cut a frame using the double pierced rectangles. And I'm just going to do some cutting. I just want to get the frame. So not going to do any sort of embossing on this at all, so we'll just run it through and get a quick cut. Okay, now let's turn it to get the other sides. Maybe we don't know, a little bit more, just a tiny bit more there. Okay. All right, so untape, untape, and just get this thin frame here. There we go. Pop these back on their magnetic sheet. And I'm going to discard that. Now, this is the frame you get from the double pierced rectangles, but it's just a little bit too big, I think. It centers really nicely that way and that way, but there's a little bit too much here. So what we're going to do is just do a little bit of nipping right in the middle, and it doesn't even have to be particularly even for this. Pop that to the side. Let's bring some tape back in. I'm just going to take a piece of that and just decide what size I want that to be around my delicate garden frame. That looks like a nice fit. Pop that into place. And one more piece on this side. And you can just tape it into place. You can use some glue if you like. Not that fussy about it. Just tape away the extra bit there. So now what I have is the size of frame I want. So I'm going to go ahead and just make it a little stronger with some glue on either side. Okay. Give that a second to set up. We'll come back to that. I want to show you on this delicate garden frame. It's an interesting die in the fact that you get this beautiful detailed centerpiece, okay? Now this cuts out all by itself. You can use this and hold it in your hand. But what I wanted, because it was very detailed, I wanted the ability to put a backing on it. So I've given you some extra dies. Now these aren't a separate cutting edge, but they will allow you to cut a backing that mats this really nicely, and you can use it inside or outside separately to add to that. What I've also done is I've given you all of the flowers that are inside this design. So you can cut these in the same color or a different color, whatever you like. So what we're going to do with this frame is we're going to cut some of these flowers. And I'm just going to be using this half here because the larger ones are on the far side. So I can even just pop that onto place like that. Give it a quick run through the caliper. There we go. And so I've cut these. Now you can, if your card is not too thick, you can double that up too, and you can do these two at a time, which is nice. So I'm going to bring over my foam mat here. Let me just make a little bit of room. And I'm going to pop these down in place. There we go. And we'll just take these out like that. Okay, so I've got the bigger ones that I want to use for my frame. So I'm just going to use a little, there it is, a little molding tool to give these a tiny bit of shape. And it doesn't take much, just a little push in the center, just like that. Gives them all the shape you need, so it only takes you a second. So then what you can do is cover your joins by adding a little bit of glue and some of your flowers, and I'll just do a few around it. Oops. Tell you what, let me just hold that. So you can work all the way around just by adding, in fact, we'll even do a few on this side. Adding your flowers on top of your frame. So nobody will know that that frame was actually too big to begin with because your flowers will cover that gorgeous little area there that you've cut. Okay, so cut a few more, work it around until you have a full, complete frame done. Now what I've done is I've gone ahead and also shaped every one of those, but I've used a little bit of white PVA glue in the center of each one of those. You could use a pearl if you like, but I just thought it would be quick and easy and a little less expensive to use the glue. So I've got a gorgeous frame, and nowhere can you tell that that's actually been cut and rejoined. So don't forget, your frames can be whatever size you need them to be, okay? So we'll move that to the side. Bring this back in. Now I'm just going to seat this in the center of my card. I've got my mounting and my piercing. I've got some extra matte layers with the blush card to bring that back in. Pop that in place. Oh, I've got a little mounting on the back of that too. Apologize. Just seat that right like that. I've gone ahead and I've cut the delicate garden frame, gone back in with the blush card, cut the flowers. I have a few left to do here, so let's add some glue right there. And you can see exactly where they are, so we can add them right on top of the ones that are there. Just move that into place. There we go. Pop that one on there. There you go. And these I've added a little bit of pearl to some of the bigger ones. So you can see how pretty that is. And there's your matte layer. So it nicely coordinates all the way around that frame. Pop that into the center. Okay. Just get that even like that. All right, so next I've gone ahead and stamped my sentiment in a black Archival, and I've added a little piece of sticky adhesive on the front of it there. I'm going to just peel that up. There we go. Like that. Oh, stay there. And I'm going to bring in some diamond sprinkles. Just give it a little bit of bling. I love to put the bling over the sentiments. It's just very, very subtle because it's a white on white, but I think it adds so much extra, and especially a card like this where you want it to be a little more special for the occasion. And I've done the center from the Toronto die collection in white on white there. I've added some mounting foam to that. I'm going to raise it up over that sentiment. But don't forget, we've got all that glitter there, so we need to add some extra glue. Very important to get it to stick well. Okay. Center that over the sentiment. Like that. Give that a second. And then we'll go back in with our scissors and just trim away the extra bit. So you can't even tell. There we go. And bring our card back over, and we'll just add that with some glue right in the middle. So you've got a nice area there just to center your sentiment and really frame it with that beautiful, delicate garden frame. How pretty is that? Oh, I just love that. I really wish I could just send this out right now to somebody's anniversary.